Hello guys, this is Doronsmovies, and today I'll just be going through the War Crimes novel that just came out, I guess, 2 days ago, and I'll be giving you a short summary of the book, as I just finished the book. I couldn't actually get the paperback edition, which is the one I mostly prefer, but it was mostly due to the shipping cost and the shipping time and all of that, but I actually managed to get the Kindle edition, and also I found about the Audible trial thing, so I actually managed to get the audiobook as well. And I pretty much listened to the entire thing while reading the book, if that makes any sense. Alright, so I will kind of like split this video in two parts. So, in the first part, I'll just give you my thoughts on the book and what I think about it. And in the other part, I will just give you guys a short summary of the book. So the second part is going to include spoilers, so if you don't like spoilers, you can exit the video, of course, as I'm going to say when I'm gonna do the summary, so I'm gonna split the video in two parts, but I'm mainly doing this for the people that aren't going to read the book or don't care too much about the spoilers. Okay, so for the first part, I mean, so far it is one of my favorite World of Warcraft books, so if you actually thought about getting it, you definitely should, because the book is really amazing. And the thing I like the most about the book is the fact that so many things were explained that we previously didn't really know. I mean, we really didn't have any idea what was going on, so pretty much, the book explains the transition between the end of Mists of Pandaria, so after the 5.4 end cinematic, to Worlds of Draenor, and how it all actually happened. Now, even though the book is about the trials of Garrosh Hellscream, it isn't really focusing too much on Garrosh when you look at it. I mean, the book more explains of how Garrosh's actions affected people around him, like both the Alliance and the Horde, and even others outside from that. But even though the book is mostly based around the court and the trial, it's still really interesting. I mean, it's not like it's fully action-packed, but it really doesn't have to, because the plot is really interesting. And while they're talking about the Garrosh's past crimes, I mean, it's in a courtroom, and it's not like they're just listing his crimes, so it's not really boring. But you can actually see visions from the past, and the fact that like they're trying to get a deeper meaning of why Garrosh is doing what he's doing. And does he actually have a chance of changing his personality and changing for the better? Now, on the other part, you can see the development of some other characters as well, and they managed to actually get a bunch of characters. And I think they said it's like the novel that included the most Warcraft characters. And now, even though the focus isn't on them, but on Garrosh, it's still kind of closely related to what's been going on with Garrosh, because pretty much all those people were affected by Garrosh in some way. Now, as I said, the book starts around the end of 5.4, and it finishes just at the start of Worlds of Draenor, and it pretty much answers a lot of questions that we had at BlizzCon, and how the entire thing just happened out of nowhere because everyone was just wondering what was going on. So if I were to rate the book, I would give it around 9 out of 10. I mean, I would actually give it 10 out of 10, but the only thing that was a tad bit annoying, but not really, but just a bit, is the fact that there is all this like rising tension and looking as if Garrosh will change or not. But when you think about it, I mean, we've seen the trailer for it like a half a year ago, so we all know that he's going to escape and he's not going to regret anything. But I mean, they're still showing like how Garrosh is actually, will he change or not? But I don't think that is too much on Christie Golden, but it's pretty much because of the game and the fact that they pretty much spoiled the ending. But I guess it's still an awesome story, and even though it's 9 out of 10, I would say it's more leaning towards a 10 out of 10. Alright, so now for the other part, I'm gonna give like a short summary of the book and the things that happened in it, so beware as this part is going to have some spoilers in it. Alright, so the book starts out with Garrosh dreaming about his father Grom Hellscream and then suddenly waking up in his cell. And what is going on is that Taranzu, as he said in the cinematic, that he will take him to the trial instead of just executing him right there. So Taranzu actually decided to not rely on just the trial and the Pandaren, but actually invite both the Alliance and the Horde. And now they had to choose the accuser and the defender for Garrosh. So at first the accuser was Varian, but then it turned out to be Tyrande. And on the other hand, Bane Bloodhoof was the one who was defending Garrosh. Now, this is very hard for Bane, as you might know. I mean, he actually killed his father, but still Bane actually teleported to Mulgore, and in like a vision thing, he talked to his father Cairn, and Cairn told him that he should defend Garrosh as well as he can. And now, even though he hated Garrosh, I mean, he still agreed to do it in order to honor his father, and he promised him that he will defend Garrosh as best as he can. Now, the whole thing was interrupted by Kairos, and they all went into the Temple of the White Tiger, and that is pretty much where the entire book went down, in Pandaria and the Temple of the White Tiger. Now, Kairos and Chromie were both bronze dragons, and Kairos sided with the Horde and Chromie with the Alliance, and they had this thing called the Vision of Time, like which could summon visions of the past in order for the courtroom to see what actually happened with Garrosh and all of the events surrounding it. So they could see like the talk between Garrosh and Vol'jin or things like that. Now at first they showed the events from the rise of the Horde, and at first Velen actually was talking and he narrated some visions of Doomhammer and Durotan back on Draenor. So he pretty much narrated the story of how Durotan and Doomhammer were running away from an ogre, and they were saved by the Draenei. So what happened is that that Draenei took them to their own town. The town was actually hidden. I mean, it is a part of the Rise of the Horde, but it was like a flashback in this book. But pretty much what happened, the town was under like a light that not everyone could see it. So they kind of showed them a secret passage that of course they later used in order to slaughter the entire town. But it was kind of like a flashback from that novel, and now Tyrande showed the scenes in order to work against the orcs, and she has actually shown a scene like when Durotan was all grown up and when they were sieging the Draenei, and there was like a scene where there was a small Draenei child, and the child was in front of Durotan, and Durotan actually refused to kill the child, and while he refused to do it and he hesitated, the child was actually slaughtered by the Shatterhand clan, and that is where Tyrande stopped the scene. Now afterwards, Bane uses Kairos, and he actually extended the scene, showing Durotan pretty much in tears and highly affected by the slaughter, and the whole point of that was to show that not all of the orcs are monsters. Now afterwards, Velen says that he believes that the orcs can change, and that they were manipulated by the Burning Legion, and that Velen and the Draenei know the best of that. Now after that, there were a few more scenes. First scene was of Malkorok, that's pretty much the right hand of Garrosh, the Black Rock orc, and they showed a few scenes where Malkorok was torturing some citizens of the Horde because they were talking against the war chief, even though between them, but there were like spies that notified Garrosh about that. So it just showed how bad it was to live under Garrosh and how he pretty much killed anyone who opposed him. Now after that scene, Sorfang, like Vorok Sorfang, came to speak against Garrosh, and they played out the scene, like they played out the vision of, I don't know if you played Wrath of the Lich King, pretty much everyone has, but they showed the vision where Sorfang was talking with Garrosh, you know, the scene where they had like the map on the carpet, and they like showed this entire scene where Sorfang was pretty much talking about how he wanted peace, while Garrosh was the one talking about how he wanted war, and then Varrock was talking about how he remembers what his people have done, and how he wants to forget all of that, and pretty much the whole scene points out that Varrock thought Garrosh was a hothead. And after that, Sorfang said that he would have challenged Garrosh in a duel if he had a chance. Now on the other side in the court, Anduin had his stand, and he said what happened with the Divine Bell in Mist of Pandaria and how he fought Garrosh, and after that he said that Garrosh actually doesn't deserve an execution and that he should be spared as he believes that people can change. Now during this entire time of the trial, Garrosh was pretty much silent, and then Garrosh requested to speak with Anduin in order to actually talk during the trial and work with the accuser and the defender. Now this pretty much explains why Anduin was working with Garrosh, so now the entire thing kind of makes sense. So after this, everything pretty much focuses on Sylvanas in that part of the book, and at first Sylvanas is mad at Bane because he might just be defending Garrosh too well and he could spare his life, and she thought she could be a better accuser than Tyrande, and then of course she called Bane an Alliance sympathizer, and then there was like a small fight that escalated, but it later all calmed down. And after that, Sylvanas received a letter from her living sister, Veressa, and they said that they should meet. Now they met somewhere in Ghostlands, and of course this is all happening with the power of teleportation. And they talked and plotted and how they could kill Garrosh and all of that, because Sylvanas on one hand wanted him dead because she hated him more than anything, but Veressa wanted him dead as well because Garrosh was the one who was responsible for the bombing of Terramore, thus killing her husband Ronin. Now this scene is kind of the part where Sylvanas and Veressa started actually bonding as sisters again. Now after all of this there were a few visions, one showing how Garrosh betrayed Vol'jin and sliced his throat, another one showing the talk between Droll and Cairn just before Droll gave Garrosh the leadership and departed to Nagrand. That's pretty much the scene from the Shattering. Now, during this entire time, Zila, the leader of the Dragonmaw clan, is regrouping with the others in order to lay siege to the Temple of the White Tiger. So now, Sylvanas starts talking more with her sister as they develop the poison, and she proposes to her that she should come with her to the Undercity and that they both should rule together. Now, this time, Veressa actually considered it, even though she was concerned about undead, like how would the undead receive her because she was living. Now, on the other hand, it was only Sylvanas that knew that the undead wouldn't ever receive her as a living, so she actually thought about, if she came with her, she thought about murdering her in her sleep in order to resurrect her as an undead banshee so they could rule together. Of course, Veressa didn't know this. Now, luckily for Veressa, while she placed the poison into Garrosh's food, she remembered her children in Dalaran and decided not to go with Sylvanas but stay with them and never leave the side. Now, she sent a letter to Sylvanas declining her offer, which of course made Sylvanas pissed, and she also told Anduin that she poisoned Garrosh's food, so Anduin managed to get just in time and save Garrosh from being poisoned. Now, in this part of the book, the story focuses more on Jaina and how Terramore got destroyed and all of that, all of those visions, and pretty much how Garrosh was responsible for all of that. And it shows how Jaina lost everything she had in her life, and how Khalid's was the one that persuaded her to not destroy Orgrimmar with the tidal wave and not become same as Garrosh was. In this part, there was also a vision from the Shattering where Jaina gave some gold to Bane in order to save Thunderbluff, which of course pissed off Varian because he thought it was a treason. He thought that she betrayed the Alliance and she sided with the enemy, of course giving the Alliance funds to the Horde, even though it was just her funds. However, after that, it all kind of calmed down and she had a talk with Khalid's about the future and everything, and she actually didn't go as evil as some people thought she would. Even though she hated Garrosh, she still kind of kept her diplomatic style, well, in a way I guess. So on the other hand, Garrosh had a chance to speak before the final decision. He was given a chance by Terran Zoo, and at first he started talking about what he had done, and he understood what has been going on and how his actions affected other people. And just when we thought he would actually regret it and change, he just said that he regrets nothing and that he will do everything again, even if he has to do it 100 times. Now, this of course disappointed a lot of people, and at the same time, while Garrosh was talking, Zila and the others were flying in a zeppelin to the courtroom in order to lay siege to the Temple of the White Tiger. Now, on the other part, Anduin actually found Chromie locked into the prison by Kairos because she actually saw through his plans, and afterwards, Vrathion came and knocked out Anduin. Now in this part of the book, it is explained that Kairos is actually working for Vrathion, and that even though it is an evil thing that Vrathion has done, he told Anduin that he should trust him, and that this is the way things have to play out in order for it to be easier to the final outcome. Now, pretty much what he was saying is that Garrosh had to escape, like he had to be allowed to escape, I'm guessing in order for the fate to work against the Burning Legion, which is I guess the final outcome, although he didn't say that in exact words, but that is just my guess. And in the meantime, Kairos opened a bunch of portals and he summoned previous copies of the characters such as Droll, Jaina, Anduin and a few others to make everything turn into chaos. So for example, Droll was fighting his previous version and same with Anduin and all of that, and pretty much chaos was everywhere. And while that was happening, Garrosh and Kairos escaped through the portal in the floor. And after that, Zila came and she actually found no sign of Garrosh anywhere. Now, this is pretty much where the book ends. I mean, the book ends with Garrosh standing with Kairos in the old Nagrand, and then suddenly hearing someone yell his last name, Hellscream. and then Garrosh starts looking around to see who is calling him because he thought some of his allies managed to get through the portal as well. But then he realizes that the Hellscream wasn't going towards him, but his father Grommash Hellscream, and that's pretty much where the book ends. Alright, so that is all I have for now. That is kind of a short summary of what was going on in the book, so if you'd like to find out more, I would suggest that you guys buy the book, as in my opinion it is really great, and you will find a lot of things related to a wide variety of characters in the Warcraft universe. So thanks for watching, don't forget to like, favorite and subscribe, and also give some feedback on what you think and what you would like to see next. See you next time.